and welcome back to my new series, Beyond Barriers, with me, Ella B. This is a new series that I'm bringing you in order to help celebrate and share with you the amazing stories of all the people who've had such a positive impact on the disabled sporting community. I've had some fantastic interviews so far and I've really enjoyed doing them, and some really big names, but I've got some even bigger names coming your way. Today, I have a comedy duo that you're going to absolutely love. They are both extremely strong when you put them together, but have both amazing personalities. Together, they have a combined 27 years experience in powerlifting. That's huge, and so you definitely wouldn't want to mess with them in real life. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Chris Rattenbury and Ali Jawad. I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I enjoyed doing it, because they were such a laugh. So, over to you guys. Hello.
I'm sorry, something came up with my idea and I had to have a meeting last minute, but it's looking good.
No worries. I mean, I've only just got on myself, so all good.
Oh, thank God.
You're safe.
I hate being late, by the way. Like, I apologise. I hate being late.
Don't worry.
I have to confess something, Ali.
Yeah, he's got a confession for you.
I have
Not
sinned.
me, yeah?
No.
Oh, okay. Why not?
I've sinned.
Have you?
Yeah.
Guess it though. Guess what sin?
You've eaten shit, haven't you? You've eaten shit. You told me you're going to start, like, implement a great diet, and you've eaten shit today, haven't you? Terrible.
No,
What
yesterday.
did you have?
Huh?
What did you
Yesterday.
have? Come on.
I had a McDonald's.
Oh! Oh, mister, I've not had a McDonald's this year.
Well, I have now, but
That is, we talked about this, like, literally, like, 2 days ago.
I think it was literally yesterday as well.
Yesterday.
No, it was Monday. You're right. It was Monday, yeah.
Oh, Chris, you let me down. It's in 2
I
days.
just didn't want to cook.
Well, thank you very much for joining me. No, it could be a bit mayhem, this. Don't really know what I've let myself in for, but I'm really excited. And you're both amazing athletes. Right, Chris, I was trying to...
Whoa. Did you say Chris is an amazing athlete?
I am an amazing
Oh,
athlete.
come on, don't do that. He just had a McDonald's today. That's not...
I can mess up the easiest thing in basketball. That makes me an amazing athlete.
That is true. You're skilled in other ways.
I know.
Yeah, the clumsiness.
So I can mess up the simplest thing, so therefore that makes me talented.
So I think the best place for us all to start is we're all quite similar, really, because we're all disabled from birth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's quite uncommon nowadays, I think. And yeah, so I don't know. I just didn't know if you wanted to start off by telling me about your early years. Like, were you both sporty anyway? I know, Ali, you came over from Lebanon. Yeah.
We'll start with me or Chris?
Let's start with you.
Okay.
Chris will come back to you, promise.
So I was born in Lebanon, and at the time, it was going through a war, quite a bad war, and basically during the scans revealed that I was a healthy boy. Yeah, because obviously back then the technology was quite bad there, so they didn't spot I had no legs. So mum gave birth, came out of no legs. What a shock! So the doctor took my dad aside and kind of asked the question of, "Do you want to get rid of it?" sort of thing. My dad was like, "Well, no, it's a blessing." But then that made them realise that I needed to get out of there for me to have a normal life. So we came to the UK, and we had it got suggested that I should go to a special needs school at the time. But my parents were adamant that they wanted me to kind of use my brain, and they thought for me to really reach my potential, I had to go to a mainstream school. But with a catch, they sent me to schools that had no facilities at all. So I learned, so they said to me, like, this is life. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to do it day by day. And if you can get it normalized from the beginning, then it's not going to affect you when you're older. So I went to schools with no lifts, no ramps. I had to climb up the stairs, leave my chair downstairs and like crawl up the stairs, run at people. It was great. I had to adapt on the spot as a kid. And I thought it was normal. But everybody else watching me was like, what the hell is that dog doing? Oh, it's not a dog, it's a human. So,
nothing like throwing you in at the deep end.
Yeah, you know what? It taught me everything.
I love that, having no sympathy and then just get on with it.
Yeah, so it taught me like to kind of just suck it up and get on with it. Yeah, so it was great. Yeah, it was a good way of thinking about it.
That's so good. And so, what age were you when you came over?
I was 6 months old as a baby.
Tiny.
I was way cuter back then. Now I'm just a rough looking disabled person.
I haven't said anything. No, you're not.
That's all the time. He bullies me.
So, Chris, what about you? How your story, your early life?
So, like, I've always told by my parents that, like, they had a choice whether to keep me or not. Because obviously I've got spina bifida, and, you know, obviously I'm a lot older than the pair of you. So back then...
We didn't want to mention it.
Yeah, you know, I feel the creaks now, you know, in our bed. So obviously a lot of it wasn't known about spina bifida back then, but they decided to keep me. You know, they were told I was going to die before I was 5 years old, and you know, I you know, reached my 6th birthday, and I swear my dad looked at me as if to say, all right then, what do we do with him now? You know, because they've obviously gone preparing for me not making it to then, and you know, it's all that. And you know, my dad was always, and I think this is the same with, like, from Ali's story and having met your great parents, they've always encouraged us to do something with our lives. You know, my dad was very much, you are not going to sit in front of the TV. You are not going to sit around doing nothing, feeling sorry for yourself. And, you know, he always wanted me to do sport. But I was very anti-sport. I didn't want to do it.
Why is that?
I think it was because...
Effort.
No.
McDonald's was calling his name.
No, because it wasn't on the TV like it is now.
Yeah, good
Fair
point.
enough. Yeah, fair enough.
You know, if I was born now, I'd be like, yeah, of course I want to be an athlete. That looks really cool. But, you know, I had to do things like walking with calipers. I hate stuff like that.
No.
You know, I was like, they call me robo-slow at school. They did.
Oh.
Ali, were you sporty when you were like little?
Yeah, so as a kid, I used to obviously like love football. So I used to play in the playground with like my hands. I used to like nutmeg everybody. It was like handball, but like they let me play anyway. I never actually grabbed the ball, kind of like played with it with my palm.
Yeah.
And like I said to my mum, I was like 5 or 6. I was like, I'm going to play for Liverpool. She started laughing. She's like, what? So, well, I want to play for Liverpool. She's like, look, I need to. She sat me down. She's like, look, you've got no chance of playing football. You've got no legs. I was like, oh yeah. Why did I thought actually watching everybody play, they've all got legs. Nobody's like me. It's weird. So in '96, we were watching the Atlanta Olympics, and I saw Michael Johnson win his historic like 200 and 400 meter double, which has not been done since. So what I was witnessing was actually virtually like history, right?
Yeah.
It was on top of the podium, like anthem was playing, and he literally started crying. I thought to myself, I need to feel what he's feeling. But the issue is that like football, I can't run like him. So I need to find a sport that I can get there. At the time, I didn't know what the Paralympics was. So I actually grew up thinking I want to go to the Olympics. It wasn't until I started judo when I was 11, was when I found out that, you know, the Paralympics was a thing. And that was my aim. My parents forced me to focus on my GCSEs because that was the year. And then it was after my maths exam, my friend literally forced me to go to the gym across the road. Like, he literally like got my chair and just like literally forced me. I call it abuse, but I don't know what you call it. I did not want to go. I'm going to revise. That's how much geek I was. Then got to the gym, and this gym it's proper, you know, it's a ghetto area. So you're talking about spit and sawdust, proper Rocky Balboa sort of gym, like leaking everywhere. It was dusty, men grunting, rusty weights. And I was like, oh my, the smell as well. I was like, I was like, this is incredible because like I grew up with the Rocky films, and this is incredible. But it's quite intimidating at 15. So we got into a corner, saw a bench press, obviously, and my friend's like, "Oh, okay, well, I've been here before. I'll show you how to do it." He didn't have a clue, but
I know, I'm the pro. I'll show you.
Started benching. Didn't know what a bench was at the time. Never did weights in my life, and then he just kept adding weight on. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to keep doing it, right? Quite dangerous. Don't use that approach ever. Got to about 100 kilo, and the whole room stopped. These big guys stopped doing what they're doing and looked at me. This big guy comes up to me and he goes to me, "Wait here, I'm going to get somebody." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Just wait here, I need to go get someone." I was like, "Crap. I think
I'm in trouble."
I told my mate, "Get the weights off, we are going quick." So like literally got the weights off, put it on the rack, legged it. Well, he legged it, I wheeled it to the reception, and then I got blocked by this old man, which is Dave K, by the way, Chris. Chris knows him very well. He stops me with his grin and he goes to me, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Home."
I'm in trouble.
He's like, "Do you know what you've just done?" I was like, "No, I'm really sorry. I don't know what I've done. This is my first time." Is that, I was like, "How old are you, son?" I was like, 15. He was like, "Ah, have you ever been to a gym before?" I was like, "No, it's literally my first time." He's like, "Okay, get on the scale." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Get on the scale." I was like, "What? That's weird." So I got on the scale. I weighed about 64 kilo at the time, which is actually considered quite light these days, but actually back then you're like middle weight at the lower end.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to me, "Oh, that's interesting." He said, "You've just benched 100 kilo. I was like, "I don't know what that means." He's like, "That means not many men that train do that, and you're 15, and this is your first time. You need to come back." I was like, "No, I don't want to come back. I don't even like the sport. I want to do judo."
Judo.
Yeah. He said to me, "No," he's like, "You can get to the Paralympic Games like in this sport." He's like, I used to be the national coach and I will coach you." He's like, "You won't get to Beijing because you're too young and juniors don't do very well. But the one after that, you'll be 23 and you've got a good shot." So I went home that night to research wanting to qualify. And obviously there is a classification for me at the games because actually there's no classification in powerlifting. There's only bodyweight classes. You just have to be able to bench, right? So at the time, you have to be in the top 10 men to go to the games. But 10th place was 180 kilo just to go. I was supposed to 100. I was like, there is no way in hell I'm going to improve by 80 kilo in. I've got 2 years, no chance. So I went back the next day after school. I said, "Look, thank you for the offer, but it's a no from me. I'm not going to improve that much." He said to me, "Look, I told you yesterday that we're not looking at Beijing. You're looking at the one after that." Obviously, we didn't know it was London at the time. He said, "Look, like, you're only 15, 16. You could accelerate quite quick." He's like, "If you trust me, I'll get you to the games." But I thought to myself, well, if it's going to take 7 years to get to the games, I'm like, do I really want to commit for another 7 years? Where I can find a sport that can be potentially quicker to get there. But I felt at the same time, like he convinced me to, this is my other chance and I should take it. And yeah, within 18 months, I benched 190 and I was going to the games.
No.
Yeah. I actually qualified on my birthday for the games in Beijing.
That's so exciting.
Birthday, yeah, broke Nick Slater's British record, Chris.
How old are you? 17, sorry, or older? 19.
I was 19 when I qualified.
When you qualified?
On my birthday. I had to break the British record like three times. A record that's not been broken for about 25 years, and I'm still a junior. And Dave said that record was the one that nobody was ever going to break until I came along. So yeah, it was what the best birthday present ever.
That's amazing. That's so good. So then going back, I'm assuming you two met at powerlifting. I might be wrong. But how did you meet? What was the first time your first meeting? Was it romantic or?
British Championships.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so basically so when I said I committed to being coached by Dave, he said, "Oh, the British Championships are in 2 weeks." He's like, "You've missed the deadline, but I know people can get you in." I was like, "What? 2 weeks? Compete at the national level? Are you kidding me?" He's like, "No, seriously.
Yeah, really?
I can get you in as a guest at least." So, so we made some calls and he got me in. and I was actually up against Chris.
I just have so many visions of you two causing havoc for a bit, but how much fun, like that in some ways you've got to do it just to have a little bit of fun, and you've obviously built a bond out of it, which is really lovely.
Definitely, we're very different people, but we're very the same in a lot of ways as well, I'd say.
Yeah, and that's the best way to be.
Yeah, he likes to say nothing all day, and then like sharing with Ali is a nightmare because he'll say nothing all day apart from slating me, telling me I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat that. Then I quite like an early night. I always have done. Get into bed 10:30. Then he'll go, "So Chris, how was your day? What have you been up to? Blah blah blah. You've been with me all day. You've done nothing."
That's me. I'm a night owl. I'll talk to you all night as well.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh. But it's we certainly built up a great friendship sharing with each other, and we got to know, because when sharing a room, you have to get on.
Yeah.
As well, don't you? Because you're away for 10 to 14 days, and if you don't.
And in these camps, I don't know if it's the same as you, but with GB camps, when I was playing basketball, we didn't have a choice who we shared with. We were just put with people. So you really did just have to get on with your teammates, and it made it a lot easier if you did.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah, definitely.
So Chris, what would you say was your best sporting achievement from powerlifting?
I would say like I did a competition in Poland, and it's probably the last competition where I did something of noteworthy. I felt I did double body weight at 82 kilos, which is 165 kilos. I'd done 150 at 75, but it was never a lift. It didn't even touch my chest.
Okay.
But the lift was given. But I think that that was my greatest performance. I think my greatest achievement is not giving up when like I said, I've always been sort of anti-sport, and I'm not gonna lie, it's always been a struggle. I like my junk food, but I appreciate I've got to eat healthy, and I'm learning that now. I'm not doing sport apart from the basketball.
Yeah.
I have to eat relatively healthy because I'm not doing the energy to eat that junk food. I certainly enjoyed the last 3 years of my career because I think a lot of pressure was taken off me, and I achieved a personal best of 172 kilo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was nice, and
that is amazing. Yeah.
And I think also holding the European record, because I'd done well British wise, but I'd never done well internationally at all. I was, like a rabbit caught in the headlights.
And sorry, Ali, I'll come back to you in a sec, I promise. But so Chris, that was kind of almost the nearer your end of your career. So why did you have to stop? Was it through injury? But sadly you didn't go as far as you wanted, did you? But
yeah, so I think a lot of it was, so as Ali said, it was top 10 to qualify for the Paralympics, which the way I was progressing under my coach Tom at the time, it was very doable, top 10. But then they changed the rules to top 8. Yeah. So I think my head went a little bit.
Not easy.
But I didn't stop training. I regrouped, and then I found out I wasn't going to the Commonwealth Games. And again I just regrouped. Because I was determined to fight to go to Rio, and then unfortunately I put my back out sneezing.
Oh, really? Is that? I don't think I ever knew. What was how you got injured?
Yeah, I put my back out sneezing.
I think you need to explain that. I don't know how.
I was just sitting watching. I trained earlier in the day, and it hadn't gone great. It was dead starts, which is just lifting straight off the rack.
Yeah.
Which they probably take more out of you than a normal lift. Would you agree with that, Ali?
Yeah, because of the dead start element, you have to apply more force to get it moving. So it hurts a little bit more when you're trying to initially push it.
So I'd done dead starts that day, and I was just watching TV, and I sneezed, and I just felt this tingle all down my spine and back. My hands started tingling, and it's the most painful thing ever. And I went to I was in pain a little bit a couple of days later, but I went to train and I couldn't. Moving the bar up and down hurt. So I went to my physio and he said, yeah, you put your back out, mate. And then I was starting to get better, and then other health problems kicked in, and it's really weird for someone that didn't like sport. I had a hard time admitting it was
that is not easy for anyone at all.
No.
And no one should have to go through that, especially when you haven't got to where you wanted and you've still got more fight in you, because you feeling like you're giving up, but it's not at all, because you've still achieved great things. So you should still be so proud of your career, because we all are still. Deep down, we take the mick out of you, but you have achieved a lot really well. And you've worked really hard, so you should be proud.
See, Ali, I do work hard.
Just being nice. It's being recorded.
No, genuinely, that was from the heart. So, Ali, you were explaining how you were a natural at the sport, and then you qualified for Beijing without even realising. Well, you did realise, but it was a bit of a fluke, really, because you'd worked. No, not really. I'm joking. But you had that natural raw talent there, and then you went and qualified for Beijing quite unexpectedly. So building up to your first Paralympics, that must have been terrifying.
No, it's the most exciting time of my life, I think.
Are you one of these who turns nerves into excitement?
Yeah, so I think for me, like, when I knew I was on the plane, it was just excitement that, I would get to kind of realize my dreams that I had since I was 6, especially after this disappointment of judo. And I thought, like, I needed to make a choice about, do I defer my uni place to focus on being the best I can be at the games? Because I felt like I'd qualified in like last place. So in the rankings, I was literally like 10th.
Yeah.
So
qualification is a qualification.
Yeah. So I knew that I wasn't there for medals. I was there for experiencing it and hopefully lay down the foundations for future games. But, Dave goes to me, look, you've got, I think it was like 7-8 months. If you commit maybe 4 times a week and some double sessions, which for me was actually like way more than I trained before, because before it was just 3 times a week for 2 years. He said that, we could really kind of increase that ranking. So you don't, so the idea not to come last and get a PB. But he said, forget about medals. You're too young. And think about the next one.
Yeah.
So got to Beijing on the plane, excited, got the kit, and it's like Christmas. You get 2 massive big bags of Adidas kit, and I just tried it on. It's like a fashion show, a legless fashion show in my room. Going, oh, look at me in the mirror. I don't usually do it that way. I'm not into fashion, but I was loving it. I was loving myself for first time ever. So I was excited. I was excited, and then got to Beijing and to say it was an anti-climax in the most dramatic fashion, I think, not knowing at the time how bad it was going to be after that.
Yeah, wasn't the most easiest games, was it, for you? Are you up for explaining what went down?
It's not hurt me now. So 3 days. So my last training session was 3 days before I competed. That was usually where I kind of did my. Well, actually, I went up to a 1 rep max that 3 days before, because that's what I usually did back then. I wouldn't do that now, but back then I did. So obviously to break the British record, I had to bench, or to qualify, I benched 180.
Yeah.
At the time, so 3 days before I competed in Beijing, all that training has actually done me pretty well. I benched 190.
Nice.
Which would on the day been a bronze on the day. So first thing I did was I was absolutely buzzing. So I emailed Dave. I said, Dave, look what I did. Like, I think it's on. Like, I don't want to jinx it, but I think it's on. And he was obviously very happy and very excited, but he just kind of tried to calm me.
Yeah.
He's like, he's just getting a bit too excited. Obviously the village as well. Like, it's like a Christmas village. Everything's free. So like, I wanted to experience everything, but at the same time I had to compete. So it's kind of like holding me back. And then obviously looking forward to competing. And then the night before I competed, after dinner, I got back to the apartment and I wasn't feeling too well. Now I thought I probably ate something dodgy, or I caught something in the village being, obviously there's a lot of people in the village.
Yeah.
Exposed to a lot more people from different cultures, different way of doing things, different habits. And maybe, I've just caught a bug. But it wasn't, so I got to see the doctor, and he said it was a potential head cold, maybe the flu coming along. But I felt like I've trained through colds before, and I've had flu before, and I've actually trained through it. This is not like any flu I've ever had. Like, my stomach was hurting. I was really like dehydrated no matter how much I drank, sweating loads, going to the toilet loads. And like, so that night I couldn't sleep. So I was on the toilet all night. I'd lost 3 kilos in body weight overnight.
No.
Yeah, I was ill. I was bad. Woke up. I was in quarantine, by the way. So I had to be isolated because I didn't want to infect anybody. Got to see the doctor in the morning. He said, look, you're going to have to pull out. You're ill. Like, you're worse than yesterday. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not pulling out. I've worked too hard to get here. I'll compete wherever I come, I'll come. Them's not to come last. I came, like, obviously I qualified then last, so it doesn't really matter, does it? So comp day, I only managed 182.5. So I'd lost 3 kilo body weight in that period, and then obviously 7.5 kilo on the bar.
But still do that.
Yeah, so out
feeling so rough.
Yeah, out of 12, I came 9th, so I didn't come last. So I was like not happy because 190 was bronze. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I could have actually been the youngest to get the medal, but I thought, you know what, I'll take it as like it was bad luck. And I'm young enough to come back. And what was really good was that at the time in Beijing, there was a Chinese lifter in the 75 kilo class. He back then was probably the greatest back then in terms of lifters. He came up to me afterwards. He said, look, you're only 19. He's like, at your age, I wasn't benching that. You're going to be a superstar. Like, you're going to be a superstar. And I thought that was quite nice of him saying it.
Yeah.
But then, so I flew back, and I got worse. I got much worse. So within, I think it took 9 months to diagnose me after I got tested for cancer and everything. But turned out to be Crohn's disease. Yeah, and that means that it kind of started a process or a roller coaster ride that I've been on since.
And I think a lot of people won't understand Crohn's and what it is than just how bad it is. But can you just explain a little bit about what it is? You don't have to go into too much detail, but
yeah. So it's like but basically your immune system kind of protects you from viruses. Mine actually attacks me. So it's an autoimmune disease. And the symptoms are not pleasant.
no.
It's worse, it can kill you with the complications. When I got diagnosed, the kind of consensus was I should retire because the disease is so unpredictable, I'd be at a massive disadvantage competing at my sort of level.
And that's what I just love about you, Ali. I love that attitude of you. Like, you are almost stubborn, like I'm not going to be told that I can't do it and I'm still going to push through this, and that's the amazing part of you. So how has your training life and competing life changed so much since that day?
Was it as in Rio or when I got
So
diagnosed?
since you got your diagnosis, but leading up to Rio, it must have been completely different from what you'd already known leading up to Beijing.
Yeah, I think when I got diagnosed, I was kind of I didn't realise how serious it was because it didn't hit. I've never heard of it. I thought you give me some medication.
And you were still quite young at the time, weren't you?
I was what, 20 when I got diagnosed.
Yes,
After suffering for 9 months. I at the time when I got diagnosed, I didn't have a clue what it was. And when it even got explained to me, I thought, well, that's all right. I can still make the game, surely. Like,
yeah.
What's so bad about this disease that's going to stop me? Not realizing what was in store. I got much worse. I lost about 25 kilo in body weight in a month. So I got from, I was at my heaviest at 68 kilo. Yeah. Got down to a 47 kilo. Yeah, and yeah, I was thin. I was so looked like a zombie with my legs.
Yeah.
Even scarier. I felt like this was pretty bad. And I was collapsing in the gym. People thought I was making it up before I got diagnosed because I just didn't know what was wrong. So yeah, we had to it was trial and error. We had to learn a lot of things because at the time there was no kind of research about exercise, Crohn's, but also as well at the elite level.
Yeah.
Couldn't find anybody at the elite level. I think there was one person that I found, and she was a rower from America. She went to 3 Olympics, and her best position was 10th. But there was a YouTube video before I kind of committed to trying to, come back. And she said that because of Crohn's, she never reached her potential. And that scared me. And I thought, well, I've already come 9th, so I've already beaten that. Because obviously I had Crohn's in Beijing, not known about it.
Yeah.
But I thought, how much can I push it? And to be fair, it took me, the London cycle, in that 4-year period leading up to London, I only trained 7 months out of the 4 years.
God.
It took about 5 years to have some sort of control over it.
And so leading up, so in that 5 years, you then managed to progress for London, home games, and you...
You mean Rio? I didn't really... London was...
London we've already done.
London was a controversial one.
London was the controversial one, you're right. Let's talk about that. That's good. Controversial London.
Are any referees watching this? Because I could be...
I'm a ref.
This is a ref.
Yeah, I doubt any referees are going to be watching, don't you worry.
So I because of with Crohn's and everything, I thought I was not going to qualify because the last qualification competition in Dubai, I bombed out. I didn't register a lift, so I didn't even know I was going. Not knowing that I did a competition in Holland that counted, but it meant I qualified in last place.
Okay.
Again, I was like, I can't believe I'm going. But the issue was that I was unhealthy. I was really sick, and I was literally going to the games to make up the numbers. And I had 5 months to turn that around. So what I did was, I thought, right, I need to be in an environment that is going to be elite. You have to be more professional, and you have to attack this from a scientific element rather than trying it yourself. So I got to London. The day of the competition, in the morning, went to the toilet and I saw blood everywhere in the toilet. I was like, not again. So I didn't
You were the most unlucky person.
I didn't tell anybody. Did not tell anybody until warm up.
My goodness.
I told Tom, and Tom was like, what? So Tom was rushing in warm up to try to see what I was capable of on the day because I was obviously bleeding in the morning without telling anyone. I felt fine, but I thought, obviously I am bleeding, so you should at least tell him now. But you can't stop me now. I'm here now. So I think I started 180 kilo, didn't I, Chris? I think it was 180 kilo.
Yeah.
And backstage, you can tell that the contenders were looking at me going, "Where the hell did that come from?" Like the guy was dead 5 months ago. What's going on? And so I got 180, got it, broke the European record by second attempt, got it. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna grab myself some sort of medal here. I can't believe it." And then that's when the controversy hit. So we knew that 186 was going to be bronze.
Yeah.
So we put, I think it was like, yeah, we put
188?
188 on because at the time, the referees actually screwed it. Well, the technical kind of official screwed up the weights. So we wanted 186. They put 188 on, and it was too late to change it. So it was their fault. So I had to go out at 188. And I was like, huh? So Tom was going, wait a minute, no, this is wrong. So he's like, you know what, you're capable of 188, you've done 192, go out there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So went out there, I thought I got it. The crowd thought I got it. And with the way the context of the competition was on the day, with the way other lifters were getting white lights, it definitely was better lift than a lot of the lifts that were given.
Yeah.
And it wasn't given. So we thought protest, because that was a silver, I think.
Yeah.
So we protest. And back then the rules were the jury had 1 minute to decide whether or not they want to overturn it. And it has to be every single jury member to agree with me, sort of thing, to be overturned. And I was backstage. I was like, oh, this is weird. It's definitely more than a minute. I know I'm nervous and like there's a lot of pressure, but it's definitely more than a minute. So Tom tried to rush them, and they just weren't. So 4 of them agreed with me, and 1 of them just couldn't make up their mind. They couldn't make up their mind, and I thought, well, 4 out of the 5 jury members side with me. So like, surely just give me it. So they kept looking. It took about 15, 20 minutes, by the way. Yeah, so I was cold.
I can know.
Yeah. So this jury member decided that they're not going to give me it. But, which for me, back then, I don't think it was a rule.
No.
So they made one up on the spot. They're like, oh, we'll give him another shot at lifting it. I was like, what? What's going on?
What?
I was like, so wait, so you're not going to overturn it?
But you're going to let me do it again?
You're going to back me, so you're going to go in the middle, be neutral, and you want me to do it again after you've given me 20 minutes off and I'm cold. So you want me to come out, do a maximal lift when I'm actually cooled down. So Tom goes to me, look, he's like, you're going to have to give this everything. Like, you're going to have to rip every single muscle in your body to try and get this. Use the crowd. Do what you have to do. Like, you're going to have to give it everything. They've obviously screwed it up. They have. But get out of your mind. Let's like focus now. So I got out there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to use the crowd. So I was like roaring the crowd on, and they didn't like it. They did not like it at all.
Because you'd been given a second chance, or?
Well, that, but also I was egging the crowd on, so they couldn't hear anything. But I had to do it. I had to use something to get the energy.
Okay, yeah, good.
So I thought, right, you're just going to have to give this everything. So I took it out, lifted it. Now, to the rules, it clearly states that if the bar if you get to like a certain position and it stops, but it doesn't go down and you press it, it's a lift. Which is weird because they never give that. And that's what happened with the last lift. And I thought, well, you know what? To the rules, that's a lift.
Yeah.
And I got red lighted, and that was it. Yeah, so we made a massive complaint. And unfortunately, we couldn't do anything because they changed the rule in December that year. So it's never going to happen again to anybody else. So you couldn't make it up. So yeah.
That you ended up 4th overall, didn't you, in London?
On body weight. So I guess bronze medal, but I came 4th on body weight.
And
which was nuts because the one thing that hurt me the most was the next morning, I was crying into McDonald's in the village because it's obviously free in the village back then. I was crying into McDonald's. The head referee came up to me and apologized.
That must never happen in elite sport, really.
You can't do that to me. I actually said to him, like, thank you, but go away.
It's too late. It's too late.
So even the ref thought he should have given me it on the day.
All because of one decision.
It was actually a very easy cycle to Rio. But the thing that was underlining was every night I think about it before I went to bed. And every morning I'd wake up thinking about it. That 4 years was like even though I was on fire in terms of competing, like my best years, it was the fact that it could happen again. And obviously in Rio, which was new for me, that I was one of the faces of the games.
Yeah.
People saw the story, they saw what happened in London, and every Crohn sufferer suddenly hanged a medal around my neck. And I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. I'm not used to this sort of media coverage.
Yeah, and that pressure was there.
Yeah, so for me, it was like, right, like, and I did not enjoy the process the last 9 months going into the games. I just wanted it over and done with. Did not enjoy it at all, even though I was in the best shape I've ever been.
Yeah. But you went and did it. So in Rio, you have now become that Crohn survivor who got a medal.
Yeah, the thing is, it's weird because, like, it was a bit of an anticlimax because the performance in London was better.
Yes.
And I came to the games just wanting a medal in Rio, just to kind of like lay the ghost to bed. I didn't care what I lifted. And 7 days before the competition at the training camp, I'd lifted like 190 kilo at a speed that would have probably suggested I had 2 or 3 reps in me. So it would have been over 200 on the day. And then in that 7 days into it, I don't know what happened to me, but I think it was the emotion, the fact that, you know, it was 4 years of hurt, and I only managed to bench 190 on the day.
Yeah.
So from being a 200 kilo bencher in theory, thinking 200 kilos a special mark, to actually underperforming massively, but medaling, I didn't know how I felt about that. And I think I obviously felt happy that I medaled, but the team around me was like you were such in good shape. We missed an opportunity to really push the envelope and perform at the very highest level on the biggest occasion. So I think for me, like in Tokyo, hopefully it's all about performance and see what, you know, if it's not about the medal, it's about the performance. And that's what I'm kind of hoping that I kind of pull off something.
You're going to become a new man now because you've set yourself a new challenge for this year. And fingers crossed, I've got every fingers crossed for you that it's going to happen. Tell us your challenge for 2021.
Sorry?
Tell us your challenge for 2020. Sorry, not 21, 2020.
London Marathon.
Yeah, it is.
It's when I did wheelchair racing, it was the one event I wanted to do because I had seen that on TV. I had seen wheelchairs do it, and I thought, do you know what? That looks cool. But, you know, when they started allowing day chairs in the London Marathon, I was determined that I was going to do it just once because, yes, I am a lazy son, so I will admit that. But I love going out pushing.
Yeah.
You know.
That's your release, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, putting the headphones on and just, you know, going out pushing and, you know, and enjoying that.
So you're hoping to do it this year? Obviously, coronavirus pending. We're waiting to hear. Who are you doing it for? What charity?
So I'm doing it for Willpower.
Yeah.
Willpower is National Charity for Wheelchair Sport. And
which you're a volunteer at?
Volunteer and ambassador.
Yeah.
You know, and my dad has always told me I must give back to those that helped me. And they'd helped me so much in my previous sporting careers, whether it be funding to go to wheelchair games, etc. You know, and it just was the right thing to do to go and volunteer. You know, I've been there 10 years now. You know.
Well, I've actually kept you guys so long, but I have got one final question for you because I've asked all my guests these, and so both of you get the answer to it. I'd like to ask you, because when you're competing, when you're being an athlete, it's really important to have downtime. So I'd like to ask you both what your guilty pleasures are. I know you're both Liverpool fans, but I'm assuming there's other things that you have a guilty pleasure for, and keep it tame. So like my example mine is Home and Away. I'm a big Home and Away fan, embarrassingly. Yeah, I know. I've admitted it. So there you go. So Ali, what's your guilty pleasure?
So to switch off completely from the world for 2 hours, I go to the cinema once a week by myself.
Yeah. What's your favourite film? You're a big film guy, aren't you? You love your films.
For me, like, you can't get better than Rocky 4.
Is it true? I heard that you listened to that before competing. Is that true?
I listen to that every day.
Of course.
Yeah, like in training, in pre-comp, in comp. I actually watched Rocky 4 the night before all my comps.
There you go, and it works. That's good.
I got to meet the man 2 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
I was lucky. I tried to not wash my hand for a week, but it didn't work.
Can't do that now with coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. Have to wash.
Go on then, Chris. What's your guilty pleasure?
I love watching the old British comedies.
Oh, I love it.
I will happily sit and watch things like Steptoe and Son, Norman Wisdom films. You know,
What's your favourite?
I'd say Only Fools and Horses.
Love it. Love it. Well, I better let you guys go get ready and eat before that game.
All right.
Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. You're legends.